steadily it rises.
Hey, it's ODB, the Lincoln Addict, back with another video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's free. If you're a return viewer, thank you so much. What I want to do today is look at Mecum Kissimmee 2025, kind of a preview. I wanted to do this last week, just didn't have the time. So with that being said, let's jump right in. All right, so anyone can go to mecum.com. Again, I have no affiliation to this company. The key thing I will tell you is you want to create a username. You want to register, basically. I'm not a registered bidder, so to speak, but you can create a username. You can log in here. It's going to be front and center, any of the upcoming auctions. And what you'll see is basically for Kissimmee, it did start a day ago, or a day or two ago, and it's kind of like a full 2 weeks, which is fantastic. Now, I may go out this weekend with a buddy of mine. We've got tickets. I may not. I'm just kind of undecided right now. What I will tell you is when you filter it by Lincoln Continental, which you see on the screen, the majority of the 60s Lincolns, which I primarily cover, are going to auction on the 17th, which is a Friday, towards the end of the auction, or the 18th, which is that Saturday. Now, there's a couple that we'll see that are the 11th and 12th. So that's going to be, if you're interested in one of those cars, those are going to be the ones that are coming up the soonest based upon when you watch this. Now, even if it's after the fact, many folks have emailed me and commented that they find a lot of value in these videos because, hey, maybe one day you want one of these cars and you're looking for a little bit of insight, a little bit of intel, if you will, on what to look for. What are the price ranges and things like that. So I'll commit to doing this quicker overview, and then I'll go back through potentially and do a little bit deeper dive on some of these. And then, of course, I'll do a follow-up to talk about the total sales as well as what some of these cars have sold for. So the first one here is a 67 Lincoln Continental convertible. And I haven't spent any time, just to be clear, like going through these and necessarily even really looking at much of it. And I'm going to keep this very, very high level. So we have seen the 66, 67 Lincolns continue to build and elevate, if you will, in price, which is a fantastic thing. The 66 and 67 convertible is kind of a love-hate thing. You either love it or you're not a fan of it, right? This is a crazy resto mod. I won't get much more into it than that, but here's the thing. They're estimating 225,000. I'm not sure it'll get to that number, but it is what it is. We also have a 61 Lincoln Continental convertible. And again, you can see right here, these kind of higher end cars or cars that are expected to bring more. Of course, they're going to go on a Friday, Saturday, right? That's going to be more of a prime time spot. But also, they want to hold these towards kind of the end, right? Because they want spectators to come out and things like that. It's not cheap to get in one of these. I mean, I think it's like $20-$30 for a day ticket, which, again, depending on your view of it, isn't so cheap. But also, I think that they have week passes and things like that. Now, the key thing here is they say that this one, they believe it's going to go for some big bucks because it's a rotisserie restoration. Now, they're saying 300 to 350,000. Again, this is not a deep dive video, so I certainly I'm gonna definitely keep this high level. We can see that this car looks outstanding. The key thing I would tell anyone that's looking to buy one of these cars, go look at them in person, right? Watch some of the videos here, kind of understand where the prices are going. Go on Bring a Trailer and type in 1961 Lincoln. See what some of these cars have sold for. This one sure does look nice. The other thing I will note is, I've mentioned this in the past, I've thought that some of these auction sites should be a little bit better, have a little bit more information. And if you can tell, Mecum has certainly kind of upgraded their site, and I think it looks great. The highlights are really kind of the bullet points, if you will, here. And there is a little bit of a story. So a few things here that they'll call out. You'll often see, quote, full frame off nut and bolt rotisserie. The thing I would reinforce to anyone is keep in mind these are unibodies. the entire Wixom plant in Michigan, where these cars were built and assembled, if you will, they were created specifically for the unibodies, right? So in 58, I think is when they started producing, or they switched over, if you will. But there's no such thing as a frame off in one of these cars simply because it's a unibody. Although keep in mind, I think that's kind of like a standard term now, and nut and bolt restoration, but saying frame off is not 100% accurate. Here we have a 65. Now I own a 65 in Fiesta Red. That's what this car appears to be. We can see it has the aftermarket wheels, 74 photos, which is fantastic. We can see it is an AC car. I've often talked about, if you look at the pricing through Haggerty, which I often will showcase, they do typically say add 10% for a factory AC car. Keep in mind, AC was technically an option. Now, this is the key thing here. This is a concourse restoration by a specialist, Liana Restorations. So Rich Liana, or Liana, however you officially pronounce it. I will tell you, anytime you see LR for Liana Restorations, simply the best, right? The best out there. Maybe one of the only few that's still doing these type of restorations on Lincolns. Just stunning job that they do. Oh, by the way, it has the individual adjustable contour seats, what we often refer to as bucket seats. That was an option starting in 64, which you can see here in this car. So we can see it has the factory MEL 430. Everything looks nice and shiny, nice and clean. You've got the tower clamps, if you will, on the radiator hoses and things such as that. This is what you would expect from something that Rich would do in terms of a restoration. So good stuff there. Here we've got a 63, so 25 photos, factory error. This one says no reserve. Now, keep in mind, for those that do not know, Mecum is a little bit different than Barrett Jackson. Everything that Barrett Jackson does is no reserve, right? That's part of the allure. That's part of their process. Mecum is different. You can set a reserve. So they're specifically calling out that this was no reserve. Now, this is, I should have mentioned, this is a convertible, hence the one of 3,138 for the 63 model year. What it has going for it is it looks beautiful. You can tell whoever's collection that it was in, wow, all the signs, the beautiful shop, really, really cool there. You do have a video. You also have a black Lincoln, but you also have these custom wheels that may not be for everyone, but that center cap certainly reminds me of when my buddy owned the 58 Continental that he ended up selling to, of all people, Snoop Dogg. It would have the tinted glass, which I haven't talked a lot about that. That's for the factory AC cars. They came with the tinted glass. So that one will be interesting to see what it goes for. Again, no reserve. Keep in mind, what I'm doing here is a high-level overview of what is available at Mecum Kissimmee 2025, which is kind of going on now for the next couple of weeks. Here we've got a 62 Lincoln Continental convertible. According to this, under 50,000 miles, which is pretty low in the grand scheme of things, if you really think about it. We have the standard information here. It does look like it has the automatic headlight dimmer. The thing going for this one, of course, it's black. A lot of folks do like this interior color. It's not my favorite, although, again, interior color is one of those things like paint on a wall or, paint on the exterior of your house. If you don't like it, you can change it, of course. But certainly that's not taking anything away from it. We can also see it is a non-air conditioned car. If this was an AC car, there would be a bracket here for the air conditioned compressor. We can see it has the single pot reservoir, which is pretty standard there. But again, these convertible prices have continued to creep up, and I'll be excited to see what that one ends up going for. Speaking of 62, we have another one here, and 62, they have done their research. 3,212, if I remember correctly, that is the correct number. This is the Sultana White over red, which is a very classy color combo. So essentially, you've got the white and you've got the red interior. We can see, though, right away that at some point someone has upgraded to the 15-inch wheels, more than likely, being that it has the later year 64 and up wheel cover. So there are some minor exceptions where some people use a 14, or they go to a 15 and they put a 14-inch hubcap. There's a few little tweaks like that, but bottom line is 99% sure this is, of course, a 15-inch wheel, which will tie into, again, the 15-inch and up wheel covers. Beautiful color, white with the red interior. I think this one is going to appeal to a lot of people. The other key thing is, although the wheel covers have changed, it does retain that factory look that so many people are looking for. There's only a couple left. Here is another 62. And again, you might be thinking, wow, why are all these 62s going to market? Well, the reason being is that there's been such a jump in the pricing for these Lincolns. You would imagine that people want to kind of cash out or move on from it. The big thing that sticks out here is, of course, it does have aftermarket wheels, which you can see here. May not be your cup of tea, but the great thing is, with so many people customizing these cars, that's leaving parts, that's leaving things for you to go out and acquire, such as the factory wheels, if you needed to, from places like our friends at Lincoln Land. And there's only one other car that I'm going to cover at this point with this high level overview, is you have a 61 Lincoln Continental convertible. Yes, another convertible. Again, 72,000 miles. You'll see these cars easily under 100,000 miles. A lot of folks use them as kind of the weekend cars, driving to the ice cream place, things like that. But certainly 72,000, when you do the math, very, very low. I think I just turned 125,000 on my 65. And I think when I did the math divided by 60, it was like less than 3,000 miles a year for 60 years, which is just really insane if you think about it. But again, that's just the way it kind of goes. This car, again, not doing necessarily a deep dive, but you can see it also has the larger wheels. I think a lot of folks sometimes scratch their head and they go, wow, I like the 61, I like the 62, I like the 63 wheel covers. Those three are very similar. The 61 is slightly different, but a lot of folks find it's getting harder to find a good, nice 14-inch tire, especially with the standard size white wall that a lot of people want in those earlier years. Sometimes you'll see the wide white, which was factory in 61, but certainly not always the case. We can see here, you look at the interior and you can tell some things have been redone. It's not perfect. I've often reinforced that these cars rarely are perfect. We can see here that it is an AC car. It has a newer AC setup, and it only has kind of the half a shroud here, which gets a little confusing. But you could, if this car was overheating at any point, which it looks like it has the 2-port, then you could always go and get like a 64 and up fan shroud and kind of install that in there. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with that, but just know we can see here that it does have the 2-port fuel pump. We always recommend a 3-port. That's kind of the consensus in the Lincoln crowd, including John Cashman, who's worked on these cars a long time, and Chris at Lincoln Land. So those are the few cars for the Mecum Kissimmee 2025. What do you think? Are any of these cars piquing your interest? Are there anything that you want to see in particular as it relates to those individual cars? I will circle back with bring a trailer. I think I missed maybe one or two just with the holidays and the new year. I would wish everyone a merry new year, so to speak, or happy new year. So as we kind of ramp up for 2025, I will continue to do these videos. I do enjoy talking about these cars. I am working on new content for Lincoln Addict Podcast, so you can find it on your Apple Podcasts app, which is pre-installed on the iPhone. Also, you can download Podbean, and Podbean is the host of my podcast, so certainly you can go there and go back and listen to all the episodes. The newer episodes, 2024 and going forward, were video episodes, and those are available here on the channel. Thank you so much. Barrett Jackson is coming up. I know I need to get over on that site and do the upcoming preview, and then there's going to be a lot to cover. So stay on the rise, everyone. Thank you for the support, and take care. ODB, I'm out of here.